The colony of Haven 4 had always been a quiet world. Nestled in the outer rim of the galaxy, it was far from major trade routes, and its people lived simple lives. Farmers tended sprawling fields of tall, blue-hued crops. Engineers worked on small research stations, and children ran freely through open meadows. The humans of Haven 4 had built a life of calm, one that relied on their cooperation and the quiet guidance of Captain Elias Ward, a respected officer assigned to oversee the colony's safety. Elias had always believed that peace was a fragile thing. He had grown up hearing stories of conflicts in the core systems, of wars waged over resources and politics. Haven 4 was different. It was isolated, and the people were focused on growing food, exploring local minerals, and maintaining their small fleet of scout ships. But today, as the twin suns rose, Elias felt a strange unease in the air, a tension that even the cheerful chatter of children could not dispel. It began as a flicker in the sky. At first, Elias thought it was a weather anomaly, perhaps a reflection of the morning suns on the planet's thin clouds. But as he stepped outside the command center, he saw the truth. Enormous shapes were moving above the planet's atmosphere. Shadows larger than any moon stretched across the land, darkening fields, towns, and research facilities. The colony's communication system buzzed with alerts, and monitors at the command center lit up with strange readings. "They're in orbit," said Lieutenant Mara Kells, her voice tight with tension. "I've never seen ships like these before. They're massive. Too big to be human or anything we've encountered." Elias's heart pounded. His mind raced through protocols and contingency plans, most of which were now useless against this unknown fleet. "Alert the people," he ordered. "Tell them to stay calm but to prepare for evacuation if necessary. I want scouts in the upper orbit now." Outside, people looked up at the sky in awe and fear. Children clutched their parents' hands, and farmers stopped their work mid-field. The massive shadowing vessels were so high that they seemed almost like floating mountains, silent yet menacing. From a distance, Elias could see faint pulses of light along their hulls like eyes watching every corner of the planet. Haven 4, which had always been safe, suddenly felt vulnerable. The colony's small fleet of scout ships scrambled, small, fast, and agile. They would never match these enormous invaders in firepower, but they could gather information. Elias personally took the controls of one vessel, pushing the engines to their maximum. He needed to see who or what had come to Haven 4. As his ship ascended into orbit, the enormity of the situation became clear. The fleet above was not just large, it was organized. The vessels moved in precise formations, as though communicating without words. And then the most chilling part. Energy storms began forming around them. Lightning-like arcs of blue and purple energy danced between ships, forming patterns Elias had never seen. His sensors went haywire, unable to measure the power or intentions of these beings. Back on the surface, Lieutenant Kells coordinated emergency measures. People were being moved to reinforced shelters, supply stores were being distributed, and the colony's defensive turrets, mostly for mining protection, were being activated. It was the first time in human history that the people of Haven 4 truly felt the weight of the galaxy's dangers. Hours passed. The fleet above remained silent, as though simply observing. Panic began to ripple through the colony. "We can't fight them," whispered one of the younger technicians. "They're too powerful." Elias heard the despair in the words, but pushed it aside. Humanity had survived harsh worlds before. They could survive this too. Even if the odds seemed impossible, just when the situation seemed darkest, a sudden, blinding light appeared above the fleet. It split the sky, brilliant and warm, like sunlight multiplied 1,000 times. At first, Elias shielded his eyes, unsure if it was another weapon or a natural phenomenon. But then the light began taking shape. Massive ships of unimaginable design, shimmering with gold and silver patterns, gliding with a grace that defied physics. They moved without engines or thrusters, almost as if they were alive. The new fleet halted the shadows above Haven 4, creating a barrier of energy that the mysterious invaders could not penetrate. Elias felt an emotion he hadn't allowed himself in years. Hope. And not just hope, but awe. These were not ordinary beings. They were guardians, powerful, ancient, and beyond any human understanding. One of the newcomers projected a holographic figure into orbit. It hovered in the air, glowing with a soft, calming light. High Guardian Sarilith, as the being identified herself, spoke directly to Elias. Her voice was melodic, carrying a sense of wisdom and authority that made Elias straighten in his pilot seat. "People of Haven 4, she began. "We have been observing your world. The fleet above is hostile, and your species is under threat. We have come to protect you. You are not alone." Elias could scarcely believe what he was hearing. Guardians, ancient protectors, and yet, here they were, answering a call that humanity hadn't even realized they had made. We are honored," Elias said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "But can we help? Can humans do anything to assist you?" Sarilith's light seemed to pulse with amusement. "Your courage is what makes you valuable. Technology alone does not define power. The will to act, the desire to protect, and the creativity to adapt, these are the strengths of your kind. We will need your help." Back on the planet, the people of Haven 4 watched in astonishment as the Guardians engaged the massive Shadow Fleet. Energy shields rose, invisible but strong, protecting cities and research stations. The alien invaders fired beams of destructive energy, which fizzled harmlessly against the Guardian shields, and yet, the battle had not truly begun. This was a warning, a demonstration of strength. Elias returned to the command center, meeting with Lieutenant Kells and other senior leaders. "We are part of this now," he said. "It's not just about survival anymore. It's about showing that humanity can stand beside these beings, not behind them." Quote, "What can we do?" Mara asked. She had always been practical, always focused on logistics and safety. "We're no match for them," Elias smiled faintly. "We don't have to be. We have to think, adapt, and act where they cannot. Human ingenuity, our courage will matter more than any weapon." Throughout the night, Haven 4 became a hive of preparation. Engineers worked alongside Guardian emissaries, learning to enhance ships and defenses with alien technology. Farmers volunteered to manage emergency shelters. Children, inspired rather than frightened, helped in small ways, carrying supplies and cheering adults who were exhausted from continuous labor. Humanity's spirit shone even in the shadow of danger. High above, Sarilith observed the humans closely. Elias had noticed her scanning the command center during their conversation, and there was a moment, a brief pause when the Guardian's glowing form seemed to nod. Recognition. Respect. Hope. Elias realized that, for the first time, humans were being seen not as weak or primitive, but as potential equals, capable of standing in the light of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The night passed with tension, vigilance, and cautious optimism. The alien fleet did not attack again, but their presence remained a looming threat. Haven 4 had faced danger before, but never like this. And as the first suns rose on the second day, Elias knew that the world would never be the same. When the people of Haven 4 emerged from shelters, they saw the Guardians hovering in orbit, radiating light, calm, and majestic. And somewhere deep in every human heart, the same thought formed. Maybe, just maybe, help had arrived, and with it, a chance to prove that humanity, even in the darkest hour, could shine brighter than fear itself. The story of when help was needed most, the most powerful beings arrived, had begun, and humanity was ready to take its first steps into a galaxy where courage, creativity, and spirit mattered more than raw power. Captain Elias Ward watched the skies, feeling the weight of responsibility, yet also an exhilaration he had never known. This was the beginning of something extraordinary, a chance to show that humans, even in the smallest colony at the edge of the stars, could rise to greatness. The morning sun spilled over the fields of Haven 4, painting them in soft golden light. Yet, the people of the colony felt no peace. Even with the alien fleet looming above, the arrival of the Aetherian Guardians had changed everything. Hope had returned, but so had a sense of responsibility. Humans now knew they could no longer remain passive observers in the galaxy. Captain Elias Ward stood on the observation platform of the command center, staring at the Guardian fleet above. The ships floated gracefully, shimmering in gold and silver light, unlike anything humans had ever seen. Unlike the menacing alien vessels, these ships were elegant and alive with purpose. They moved as one, almost as if guided by thought rather than technology. Elias felt a strange combination of awe and determination. Beside him, Lieutenant Mara Kells monitored the colony's communications. "The people are responding well," she said. "Volunteers are helping everywhere. It's incredible how quickly everyone has adapted." Elias nodded. "That's what I wanted to see. Humans are at their best when they work together. We might be small, but our spirit is strong." He paused, watching a Guardian emissary descend near one of the farms. The being radiated soft light, and as humans approached, there was no fear, only calm. It was clear that the Guardians could instill trust as much as they could instill fear. The emissary, a tall being named Leorin, began explaining how they would assist the colony. Their technology could reinforce shelters, enhance defensive turrets, and even improve human ships. But Leorin emphasized one thing repeatedly. "We are here to guide, not to dominate. Your creativity, courage, and decision-making are what will shape the outcome." Elias listened carefully. The words filled him with pride. Even among beings far stronger than humans, there was respect for human spirit. That respect was something he had never expected, and it fueled a determination he could almost feel in his bones. By midday, preparations were in full swing. Humans worked alongside the Guardians, learning how to integrate alien technology with their own systems. Engineers modified scout ships with energy shields and light-based propulsion systems, taught by Guardian instructors who moved with quiet patience. Farmers and laborers carried supplies, constructed barriers, and tended to citizens in shelters. Children, curious and fearless, helped with small tasks, guided gently by the Guardians. Captain Elias and Lieutenant Kells organized a briefing for the colony's defenders. "We are not helpless," Elias told them. "These beings are powerful, yes, but they cannot act everywhere at once. We have knowledge of our land, our people, and our ships. That knowledge, combined with the Guardians' guidance, is our advantage." Mara Kells nodded. "They've given us enhancements to our ships. Faster engines, stronger shields. We can scout, defend, and coordinate with them. But it will take practice." Elias looked at the young pilots in the room. Their faces were a mix of fear and excitement. "We will practice. We will train. And when the time comes, we will stand as one with the Guardians and with each other. This planet, our people, and our spirit will not be broken." As they prepared, the alien fleet above the planet remained a constant threat. The Vorak Dominion, as the Guardians called them, had shown no intention of retreating. Their shadowy vessels waited silently, their energy shields shimmering, scanning, calculating. Elias knew that eventually, the Vorak would strike again. The first attack might not happen today or tomorrow, but it was coming, and when it did, humans had to be ready. That evening, a training exercise took place in the upper atmosphere. Guardian ships hovered above, while human pilots maneuvered their newly enhanced vessels beneath. Elias took the controls of one ship himself. At first, the integration of Guardian technology was confusing. The ships responded to thought patterns, energy flows, and mental focus in ways humans had never experienced. But with guidance from Leorin and constant practice, the pilots learned to adapt. Flying alongside them, Elias marveled at the courage of his crew. Despite knowing the threat above, no one hesitated. Their determination and adaptability impressed even the Guardians. Saralith, observing from her central ship, made a note to Elias later. Your people possess a strength that cannot be measured in technology or energy. That is why you are worth protecting." Meanwhile, on the surface, scientists worked with Guardian emissaries to study the Vorak fleet. The alien ships, though terrifying in size, displayed patterns in movement and energy discharge that could be anticipated. With Guardian guidance, humans began developing predictive models for the fleet's behavior. These models would allow them to coordinate defenses, evacuations, and even countermeasures when the attack came. In the middle of this, Elias took a quiet moment on a balcony overlooking the colony. The sky was alive with both threat and hope. The Vorak fleet, massive and foreboding, contrasted sharply with the shimmering Guardians. He thought of the farmers, engineers, children, and soldiers working tirelessly below. He realized then that humanity's true strength was not in weapons or shields, but in unity. A sudden alert broke his reflection. Scout ships detected a smaller Vorak vessel approaching from the edge of the system. "It's a probe," Mara said, studying the readings. "They're testing us." "Well," Elias clenched his fists, "then we show them what humans can do." A team of human pilots, guided remotely by Guardian instructors, engaged the probe. Despite being outmatched technologically, they used clever maneuvers exploiting gravity wells, atmospheric turbulence, and unexpected energy pulses to avoid damage and force the probe to retreat. The Guardians observed silently, nodding in approval. "See?" Elias said to Mara, after the probe had gone. "Even a small team, if smart and brave, can make a difference." Mara smiled faintly. "They'll remember this. Not because we defeated them completely, but because we refused to give in." That night, the colony gathered for a moment of unity. Guardians and humans stood together in an open field, looking up at the stars. Saralith projected a holographic display of the galaxy, showing the Vorak Dominion's territory, their movements, and the positions of other civilizations. "The galaxy is vast and dangerous," she explained, "but civilizations like yours, young, courageous, adaptable, have the potential to change the balance. We Guardians intervene only when necessary. But the future of this system depends on your choices." Children asked questions about the Guardians and the Vorak. Scientists discussed strategies for defense and research. Farmers and workers shared food and resources. Humans had become part of something larger than themselves, a story that reached beyond Haven 4, beyond the solar system, and into the galaxy. Elias watched it all, feeling a mixture of pride and responsibility. The Guardians' arrival had saved the colony from immediate danger, but it had also set a challenge before humanity. They would be tested, not just by enemies, but by their own courage, creativity, and unity. Days passed in training, preparation, and observation. Small skirmishes with Vorak probes tested the humans. But each time, humans adapted, learned, and improved. Guardians taught them, yes, but humans contributed ideas, strategies, and improvisations that even the Etherion had not predicted. It became clear that this partnership was not one-sided. During one evening briefing, Saralith addressed Elias personally. "Captain Ward," she said, "your people are impressive. They combine bravery and ingenuity in ways rarely seen. The Vorak may have strength, but they lack the spirit of your kind. That spirit will decide the outcome of this conflict." Elias bowed his head slightly. "Thank you, High Guardian. We will not fail. Not here. Not while we still stand together." Saralith's light pulsed softly, almost like a smile. "Good. You will need that determination. The Vorak fleet is patient. They will test you in ways you cannot yet imagine. But together, we are stronger." As night fell, Haven 4 glowed softly beneath the watchful eyes of Guardians above. The Vorak fleet remained on the horizon, a reminder of the danger yet to come. But humanity had already begun to show its strength. With courage, intelligence, and unity, they were becoming more than a colony at the edge of the galaxy. They were becoming a symbol of hope, a species capable of standing alongside the most powerful beings in the universe. Captain Elias Ward gazed at the stars one last time before turning to oversee the night shifts. The day had been long. filled with lessons, fear, and triumph. But the true battle had not yet come. The Vorak Dominion would strike eventually, and the Guardians had made it clear. Humanity would be more than observers. They would be participants, allies, and heroes. And as the twin suns of Haven 4 sank below the horizon, Elias knew one thing for certain. The people of his colony, and indeed all of humanity, were ready to rise to the challenge. When help was needed most, powerful beings had arrived, but now it was time for humans to show what they could do. The partnership between humans and Guardians was just beginning, and it promised to be a story of courage, ingenuity, and unity. A story that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. The sky over Haven 4 was no longer peaceful. Even with the Guardians above, the looming presence of the Vorak Dominion fleet was a constant reminder of the danger. For days, humans and Guardians had trained together. Enhanced ships had been tested, and defensive strategies had been planned. Now, the first major confrontation was about to begin. Captain Elias Ward stood on the observation deck, overlooking the city. The streets were filled with civilians and volunteers preparing shelters, managing supplies, and helping the injured from previous skirmishes. Despite the looming threat, there was a sense of resolve in the air. The humans of Haven 4 had grown into warriors of spirit, ready to defend their home alongside beings far stronger than themselves. Beside him, Lieutenant Mara Kells spoke quietly, almost to herself. "They're coming. I can feel it." Elias nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. "But it's our courage and ingenuity that will make the difference." At that moment, a brilliant flash tore across the sky. The Vorak fleet had finally acted. Massive energy beams struck the outer atmosphere, creating shockwaves that rattled buildings and shook the planet. Panic rippled through the colonies, but Elias raised his voice above the chaos. "Everyone, stay calm. Follow the evacuation protocols. Defend what you can." From orbit, the Etherian Guardians responded instantly. Energy shields expanded, forming protective domes over major settlements and strategic installations. The alien fleet's attacks struck these shields, but each assault was absorbed without damage. The Guardians' precision was flawless, yet they did not act alone. Humans were now integrated into the defense network, operating turrets, coordinating scout ships, and directing civilians to safe zones. Elias climbed into his newly enhanced ship. The craft was unlike anything he had piloted before. Glowing circuits, energy-based engines, and shields that could bend light. Yet the most important feature was not technology, it was the human ability to think, adapt, and act in unpredictable ways. The first wave of Vorak attack, ships descended into the planet's atmosphere. They were enormous, metallic, and menacing. Bristling with weapons that pulsed with dark energy, human pilots flew alongside Guardian ships, weaving through beams and energy pulses, coordinating movements through a shared holographic interface. It was a dance of chaos and precision. Despite their inexperience, humans contributed in ways the Guardians had not anticipated. One pilot, a young woman named Tara Lynn, noticed a pattern in the Vorak attack formations. She called out to her squadron, suggesting a risky maneuver that took advantage of the Vorak's predictable beam timing. The move worked flawlessly, forcing a group of enemy ships to collide mid-air. The Guardians observed in silent approval. Human intuition and creativity were proving invaluable. Meanwhile, on the surface, volunteers worked tirelessly to reinforce defenses. Engineers adjusted energy shield parameters on the fly. Farmers moved supplies to safer areas, and children helped guide the wounded to shelters. Elias watched it all from the sky, feeling an overwhelming sense of pride. This was humanity at its finest. Brave, resourceful, and united. The battle escalated. Vorak ships fired massive energy beams, striking the planet with destructive force. Guardians countered with beams of light that neutralized attacks. But the sheer number of enemy vessels made every moment critical. It was during this chaos that Elias noticed a Guardian squad pinned beneath debris from a collapsed energy shield. Without hesitation, he guided his ship to the site, dodging energy blasts and falling structures. Using his ship's enhanced maneuverability, Elias rescued the Guardians maneuvering them to safety. The act did not go unnoticed. High Guardian Sarilith projected a shimmering light towards him, a signal of respect and acknowledgement. "Your courage and quick thinking are remarkable," she said. "Humans may be fragile in body, but in spirit, you are mighty." The morale boost was immediate. Humans and Guardians alike fought with renewed vigor. Every time a Vorak ship fell, cheers erupted across communication channels. Every time a shield held against a beam, hope spread. The battle had become more than a fight, it was a testament to the determination of a united front. Hours passed. The sky was filled with beams, shields, and the hum of engines. Energy arcs crackled between ships, illuminating the darkness of space above Haven 4. Yet despite the overwhelming odds, the combined forces of humans and Guardians were holding. Human ingenuity, tactical diversions, improvised maneuvers, and creative use of terrain was complementing the Guardians' immense power. Elias coordinated a final push. Using information gathered from the battlefield, he suggested a synchronized strike. Guardian ships would form a protective dome, absorbing the Vorak's fire, while human pilots penetrated the enemy's formation and targeted their energy cores. It was risky, but it relied on what humans did best: improvisation, coordination, and bravery. The attack commenced. Humans darted between enemy ships, exploiting weak points and communicating constantly. Guardians provided cover, absorbing damage and countering attacks with precise energy pulses. The Vorak fleet, confident in their superior power, was caught off guard by the combination of raw strength and clever strategy. In a decisive moment, Elias led a squadron into the heart of the enemy formation. Using a combination of energy shielding, evasive maneuvers, and coordinated attacks, they disabled several Vorak vessels. The Guardians unleashed a wave of controlled energy that neutralized the remaining threats in the immediate area. The Vorak fleet, unable to adapt to the unpredictable human tactics, began to retreat. The aftermath was silent but intense. Debris floated in orbit, a testament to the fierce battle that had taken place. Citizens of Haven 4 emerged from shelters, witnessing the Guardians hovering above, victorious. Elias landed his ship and was immediately surrounded by cheering humans and nods of approval from the Guardians. Sarilith addressed both humans and Guardians through a projected light. "Today, you have shown courage, intelligence, and unity. You have faced a formidable enemy and stood together as one. This victory is not ours alone. It is yours as well. Humanity has proven that power is not only measured by strength, but by the spirit within." Elias felt a swell of pride. The words echoed the thoughts he had carried throughout the battle: that humans, though small and fragile compared to the most powerful beings in the galaxy, could make a difference. Their creativity, courage, and ability to work together had turned the tide. For the people of Haven 4, the victory was more than survival, it was a statement. They had defended their home, not just with alien technology, but with their own hands, minds, and hearts. They had proven that even in the shadow of immense power, humanity could rise, adapt, and shine. As night fell over the planet, the Guardians remained in orbit, scanning the remnants of the Vorak fleet. Elias and his team coordinated repairs, tended to the injured, and prepared for whatever might come next. Despite the exhaustion, there was a sense of triumph. Humans had fought alongside beings far stronger than themselves and had held their own. In the quiet moments, Elias reflected on what had happened. The battle had not only saved Haven 4, it had forged a partnership, a bond between humans and Guardians that could shape the galaxy's future. The Vorak might regroup, they might strike again, but humanity had shown that courage, ingenuity, and unity were forces that could not be underestimated. That night, for the first time in weeks, Haven 4 slept peacefully. The streets were quiet, the shelters dimly lit, and the stars shimmered above, free from the shadows of the Vorak fleet. Humans and Guardians alike had proven that when beings of different worlds stood together, no enemy, no matter how powerful, could break their resolve. Elias watched the stars from the command center one last time before resting. He knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of unknown threats. But with humans and Guardians standing together, there was hope. Hope that when the darkest hour came, courage, ingenuity, and unity would shine brighter than any power in the universe. And in that moment, Haven 4, a small colony at the edge of the stars, had become a beacon of what humanity could achieve. The story of when help was needed most. The most powerful beings arrived. Had reached its turning point. The battle had been won. But the journey was far from over. Humanity had shown its worth, not only to the Guardians but to itself, and as the twin suns of Haven 4 dipped below the horizon, one truth was clear. Humans were no longer just a fledgling species, they were a force to be reckoned with, ready to face the galaxy's challenges with courage, heart, and unwavering spirit. The sky over Haven 4 was calm now, but the aftermath of the battle lingered in the air. The remnants of the Vorak Dominion fleet drifted silently in orbit, shattered and disabled by the combined might of humans and Guardians. Cities that had been reinforced with Guardian technology were intact, though some bore the marks of energy strikes. The people of the colony had survived the most dangerous attack in their history, but the experience had changed them forever. Captain Elias Ward walked through the streets of Haven 4, watching volunteers and Guardians work together to clear debris, repair structures, and assist the injured. There was no time for celebration yet, but a sense of triumph filled the air. The humans had not only survived, they had proved that courage, creativity, and unity could stand alongside even the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Lieutenant Mara Kells approached him, carrying a tablet with new reports from the Guardians. "Captain, the Vorak remnants are retreating beyond the system. They won't strike here again for now. It seems they underestimated us, and underestimated humans." Elias nodded. "They learned the hard way. And so did we. But this is not just a victory over an enemy. It's a victory for humanity. For what we can achieve when we work together and stand up to impossible odds." High above, in orbit, the Aetherian Guardians gathered their forces. Their ships glowed with calm energy, a stark contrast to the chaotic assault from before. High Guardian Saralith projected her holographic form to the colony, addressing both humans and Guardians. Her voice was steady and melodic, carrying authority and warmth. "People of Haven 4, she began, "today you have shown courage beyond your years. You have proven that even a fledgling species, facing a superior enemy, can stand with strength and spirit. This is not a gift of power, it is recognition of your worth. Humanity has earned its place among those who can shape the galaxy." The crowd on the surface erupted in cheers. Humans had fought bravely, saving not only themselves but their powerful allies. But even as they celebrated, Elias knew that the galaxy would continue to challenge them. The Vorak might return, and other unknown threats could emerge. Yet the lesson was clear. Humans had proven they could face adversity with ingenuity and courage. In the command center, Saralith met privately with Elias. Her light pulsed softly as she spoke. "Captain Ward, your people have impressed us more than any species in recent centuries. You have a gift that cannot be measured by technology or strength alone. Spirit, courage, and creativity, these are qualities that make a species truly formidable." Elias bowed his head slightly. "Thank you, High Guardian. We only did what we had to do. Without your guidance, we could not have succeeded. But it was humanity's choice, to fight, to protect, and to innovate." Saralith's glow brightened, as if acknowledging the truth of his words. "Exactly. And that is why the Guardians propose an alliance. Haven 4, and all of humanity, will be under our protection, and we will share knowledge, technology, and strategy. In return, you will continue to grow, to explore, and to prove that humanity is worthy of the stars." The announcement sent a wave of awe through the colony. Humanity, once isolated on a small, quiet world, was now part of a galaxy-wide alliance with beings of immense power and wisdom. This was more than protection, it was recognition, acknowledgement that humans, with their courage and ingenuity, had value in the larger cosmos. Preparations for the alliance began immediately. Humans and Guardians worked side by side, sharing knowledge of technology, tactics, and culture. Engineers learned to integrate Guardian energy systems into human ships. Pilots trained in complex maneuvers alongside the Guardians. Scientists studied Vorak technology and energy patterns, guided by the ancient beings. Every day, humans discovered new ways to contribute. And every day, the Guardians observed and learned from human creativity. One afternoon, Elias gathered a team of human and Guardian pilots for a test mission beyond the colony's orbit. They flew together in a formation that combined speed, agility, and Guardian shielding. The humans learned to coordinate with alien technology, making split-second decisions and improvising maneuvers that even the Guardians admired. "Tara, your instincts during the last battle saved lives," Elias told the young pilot. "You and your squadron will lead this training today." Tara's face lit up with pride. "Yes, Captain. We'll make it count." As they maneuvered through asteroid fields, practiced evasive maneuvers, and simulated attacks, the partnership between humans and Guardians strengthened. It was clear that the Guardians valued human creativity as much as power, and humans realized that even the strongest beings could be allies rather than rulers. Meanwhile, on the surface, the citizens of Haven 4 celebrated quietly. Families rebuilt homes. Children played under the watchful presence of Guardian protectors, and engineers repaired the city's energy network. The victory over the Vorak Dominion had created a sense of unity and purpose. Humans had survived the impossible and proved they could contribute meaningfully in the galaxy's larger story. High Guardian Seralith addressed the colony once more. Haven 4 will be a beacon for other young civilizations. Your courage and ingenuity are an example that all species can learn from. Humanity is no longer alone. The galaxy is vast, but it is not unreachable. Together, we can shape its future. Elias watched the people below, feeling pride swell in his chest. This was what he had always hoped for. Not just survival, but growth, recognition, and purpose. Humanity had faced the unknown and risen to meet it. They had stood together, proven their worth, and gained allies who respected their spirit. That night, the twin suns of Haven 4 set in brilliant colors, reflecting on the energy shields still hovering above the cities. Elias stood on a balcony. Looking up at the Guardians' ships, he thought of the battles fought, the lives saved, and the courage displayed. He also thought of the future, the challenges humanity would face, the exploration that awaited, and the places where humans and Guardians could make a difference together. A soft light appeared beside him, Leorin, the Guardian emissary who had guided humans from the beginning. "Captain," the being said, "your people have exceeded all expectations. You have learned quickly, adapted, and inspired. The galaxy will watch your progress with interest." Elias nodded. "Thank you, Leorin. But it's not just me. It's everyone. Pilots, engineers, farmers, volunteers, and children. Humanity is strongest when we stand together." The Guardian's light pulsed gently, as if smiling. "Indeed. And that is why the Guardians will continue to watch, to guide, and to learn alongside you. The partnership between our species is just beginning." Over the following weeks, the humans and Guardians solidified their alliance. Training continued, research accelerated, and trade routes were opened for interstellar communication. Humanity's role in the galaxy expanded beyond mere survival. They were now contributors, allies, and symbols of hope. On the horizon, the remnants of the Vorak fleet lingered, but the humans and Guardians knew that they would not strike Haven 4 again so easily. Humanity had become a force that even the most powerful enemies could not underestimate. Captain Elias Ward addressed the colony one final time before a mission to test new Guardian human vessels. "People of Haven 4, he said, "we have faced danger. We have stood together, and we have won. The galaxy is full of challenges, full of wonders, and full of opportunities. Together with our new allies, we will explore, defend, and grow. Humanity has proven itself, and the future is ours to shape." The crowd cheered, and the Guardians glowed softly above, acknowledging the statement with light and energy. That night, As the stars sparkled above Haven 4, the humans looked up with hope and determination. They had faced fear, chaos, and powerful enemies, yet they had not faltered. With courage, ingenuity, and unity, they had risen to greatness. The Guardians had arrived when help was needed most, but they had not taken control. They had stood beside humanity, empowering them to shine on their own. And so, Haven 4 became a symbol across the stars, a small colony that had faced impossible odds, survived, and proven that humanity was more than capable of standing alongside the most powerful beings in the universe. The alliance with the Aetherian Guardians marked the beginning of a new chapter, one where humans would explore, protect, and inspire in a galaxy that had finally recognized their strength. Captain Elias Ward looked toward the stars, feeling a sense of fulfillment unlike anything he had known. Humanity had faced the darkness, embraced its courage, and risen. The galaxy was vast, but it no longer felt unreachable. When help was needed most, the most powerful beings had arrived. Yes, but humanity had also proven that its own spirit, creativity, and courage were powers to be reckoned with. The story of when help was needed most, the most powerful beings arrived, ended not with domination or fear, but with unity, hope, and the promise of an extraordinary future. Humanity had proven its worth, earned respect, and taken its first true step into a galaxy where courage and ingenuity were just as mighty as the most powerful stars. And in that moment, every human on Haven 4 understood one simple truth. The universe was vast. The challenges would come, but together, they could face anything and rise stronger every time.